one of the first things that we did together was we had you take one of the assessments from our Careertopia starter kit. And can you share a little bit about what that was like?
Yeah, so the disc is what I took, and I took that online, and and went through it really quickly, and you're supposed to kind of just answer the questions the way that your initial impulse is to answer them. So I did that, and I was very fortunate to have Carol of your staff schedule a phone call with me where she went through the results and debriefed with me, and that was incredibly helpful to me. I actually, it's always interesting to learn about yourself through different tools, but I definitely would not have gotten as much out of it if Carol hadn't talked me through it.
Yeah,
so
she's
that
the
was
best.
really, yeah, she is great. It was really valuable.
Cool. And I remember speaking with her afterwards. She really enjoyed working with you too. And after you guys had gone through your assessment results, I recall that you had experienced one or two ahas about your behavior in the workplace and your preferred communication style. And did you find anything surprising in the results, or anything that impacted you for the rest of your journey?
Everything that came, one thing that, I don't know, I guess it's always surprising when an instrument like that, you start reading the pages and it reads you so accurately, and you think, wow, this is really incredible. How in the world, could this be so accurate? But it really was. There wasn't much about it that didn't resonate with me. And the biggest aha for me, I guess, was that it came up that I'm really not a person who needs to be like I'm an influencer more. So I like to lead through influencing others, and Carol really drove home the fact that I draw a lot of energy from working in a team environment, which is something that I hadn't really thought too much about before.
Great. Yeah, sometimes, like you said, when you have the experience of an assessment like that, on one hand, you go, wow, that really is right on. That is me. But we don't always pull out the applicable data of how that applies in our work. So on one hand, you're agreeing with it, but on the other hand, you don't see the application until you go through the report or you work with a coach to point it out for you. So
yeah, and the one thing she said, she really encouraged me to get out more and to interact more, and she was absolutely right. What had happened is I had kind of gotten into this mode where I felt like I just had to be sending resumes out. Right. And and I was home, and I was home. It just wasn't healthy. So that was really helpful to me, just to hear that. And she also really picked up on the fact that I don't like to follow rules. So, which is good to know, because I was looking at big corporations and government jobs and things that probably wouldn't have been a good fit. So it was a good thing to know about myself.
Right, because sometimes the content of what you'll be working on is exciting and sounds like a good fit, but the nature regarding how you like to follow rules or not follow rules as they're set by others doesn't necessarily work, and then you have a conflict of two strengths.
Yeah, exactly. And also the part where how you like to be communicated with was really interesting for me, because I went through the list, and everything was exactly what the CEO I had been working for had been doing, and I felt just so demoralized by it. And then the way I like to be communicated with, I had another CEO I worked for, and that was exactly how he communicated. And so it was really interesting. It just shows you how important it is to work for somebody, whose style fits with yours.
Right, and I would bet that before taking the assessment and seeing that in that analytical nature, the way it's spelled out in the report, you probably knew you really liked working with this one person, and you really didn't like working with this other person, but you didn't know what it was that worked well in one case and well in the other. But when you see it spelled out in black and white, you're like, oh yeah, this person is doing all those things that I don't like. Now that makes sense. He's not evil. He just communicates in a
it helps
different way.
kind of depersonalize it and
Right.
say, well, yeah, exactly.
And if you're remaining in the situation where you still have to interface with that person regularly, then it at least creates some tolerance and maybe a little
Yeah.
more understanding the next time you have to go in the room with them. So
Exactly, yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.